The Belgian Grand Prix was a bit of a stinker as far as entertainment value is concerned, mainly down to the dominance of the McLarens and the fact overtaking became even harder with the wet track offline. But safe to say F1 has some big issues with wet racing in general at the moment. Let's have a look. Pirelli designed tyres to what F1 require, so the blame for the cars being unable to race in wet conditions can realistically be put down to both parties. Out on track, the main issue isn't even the grip most of the time from what I understand outside the car, but rather the sheer amount of water that is flung into the air. This can be put down to the ground effect, the larger size of the modern wet tyres being able to shift 80 litres water per second with pretty much all of that going into the air, then finally the fact that these are now basically the fastest cars we've ever seen in F1, with the McLaren this year beating the W11's lap record by 0.7 of a second, which is just crazy by the way. This leads to covering more distance over a shorter time and more water being thrown into the visors of drivers. The initial red flag isn't because drivers were simply built different back in the day. Seriously, look at onboards of wet races from the 80s and 90s. Even if the grip wasn't great at all, the visibility sometimes in wetter conditions proved to be better, making for an actual raceable product. Whereas if this race in Belgium was green flagged somehow, it would be a complete lottery in terms of who would and wouldn't get into an accident as a direct result of the visibility. And in my opinion, if it comes down entirely to luck, it's not really much of a sport. Don't even get me started on those spray guards they were testing, because my goodness me, were they not only ugly, but entirely useless. Hopefully this starts to change with the new regulations, smaller tyres, slower speeds, and no more ground effect. The wet tyres are entirely redundant in the year 2025 unfortunately.